The observation is simple. Most people mistake high tolerance for high character. They believe that by absorbing the friction of others, they are proving their strength, but in reality, they are only proving their availability. A Sigma operates on a different frequency, understanding that time is the only currency that cannot be printed. He doesn't compete for a seat at the table nor follow the pack for security. He is the observer who realizes that most people are simply looking for a way to spend his energy for him. By understanding the exact psychological math used to spot a pattern before it speaks, the walkaway power becomes a primary tool. It isn't about aggression, it's about the quiet refusal to participate in a dynamic that doesn't add up. Number 1. The convenient incompetence trap. There is a zero-tolerance policy for those who act perpetually confused or play dumb just to dodge effort. This is a common sight where people see a struggle and immediately feel a surge of pity, jumping in to take over the task just to resolve the tension. The hidden dynamic is a calculated strategy of outsourcing labor while maintaining a facade of innocence. It is a subtle theft of capital, time, under the guise of needing help. The Sigma notes this as a data point first and a strategy second, comparing this incompetence against the person's high intelligence in areas that actually benefit them. The math happens fast. Being a forever fixer for someone who refuses to learn will eventually bleed out the energy needed for the mission. Once the pattern is visible, the help stops and access is revoked without a lecture. That's just life. Number 2. The betrayal of the public slap and the private handshake. There is zero tolerance for those who choose to disrespect the connection in front of an audience, only to attempt a smooth over behind closed doors. Most people accept the private apology because it seems sincere, and they want to avoid the awkwardness of a lasting conflict. The hidden dynamic is that the person deliberately sacrificed the Sigma's dignity to gain social points or look strong for a crowd. The analytical conclusion is clear. The public version of the event was the honest one. By behaving this way, they have signaled that they value cheap status over genuine integrity. A private repair cannot fix a public choice. Once the gap between who they are in the light and who they are in the dark is visible, the investment ends. There is no need for a scene. The respect is already gone. Number 3. Weaponized tears used to dodge accountability. Zero tolerance is maintained for emotional outbursts that are timed specifically to shut down a logical discussion. While the crowd usually buckles under this pressure, apologizing for hurting the other person even when they were in the right, the Sigma stays centered. The hidden dynamic is an emotional redirect used to flip the script and make the truth teller the villain for holding a standard. It is a tactical use of distress to maintain control over the narrative when a mistake is caught. While the emotion might be real, using it as a shield breaks the power balance of a healthy connection. He refuses to let a momentary sob erase the facts that were true 10 seconds earlier. If the pattern continues, he simply checks out, knowing that a connection without logic is a prison. Number 4. The insult of being handled instead of told the truth. There is zero tolerance for those who use soft words and cushioning because they believe the reality is too much to process. Most people actually enjoy being handled, preferring the comfort of a gentle lie over the sting of a hard truth, but this is a fundamental lack of respect. The hidden dynamic is a subtle form of condescension. Being managed implies that the other person believes you lack the stability to handle the raw version of the world. The Sigma finds the circling and the hinting to be an exhausting waste of mental energy. He values the efficiency of directness over the fake safety of a padded conversation. The gap between what is said and what is withheld is where the trust dies. He limits his circle to those who have the courage to be blunt, because once words are wrapped in layers of protection, they stop meaning anything at all. Number 5. The hollow transparency of honesty only when cornered. Zero tolerance is applied to damage control that tries to masquerade as a sincere confession. While many are relieved to finally hear the truth, believing the relationship has reached a new level of intimacy, the reality is far more transactional. The hidden dynamic is not honesty, it is a tactical adjustment. The person is only revealing the facts because they realize the evidence is already on the table. There is a cold distinction between chosen truth and necessary truth. He recognizes that a conscious choice was made to hide the reality until there were no options left. This disrupts the manipulator's expectation of a reward for vulnerability. Every future conversation would require a background check, and that is simply not worth the mental energy. Number 6. The demand for proof of what has already been shown. There is zero tolerance for the behavior of continuously asking for clarity or evidence of character even after years of consistent action. The hidden dynamic here is a stalling tactic. By keeping the Sigma in a defensive position where they are constantly explaining themselves, the other person maintains control over the narrative. Most people fall into the trap of trying to provide even more proof, but the Sigma realizes that the goalpost is attached to wheels. He recognizes that if 1,000 actions haven't built trust, the 1,001st won't either. He stops presenting evidence and simply accepts that the other person is choosing to be blind. He ends the debate by removing himself from the courtroom entirely. That's just life. Number 7. Being treated as a backup plan disguised as a first choice. There is zero tolerance for being a convenient option. Most feel a flicker of validation when someone finally reaches out, convincing themselves the person was simply overwhelmed by life. However, the timing usually reveals a far more transactional truth. The hidden dynamic is that the attention only manifests when primary plans fall through. The warmth is merely a tool used to ensure a safe place to land once preferred options are exhausted. The Sigma compares the sudden interest to previous patterns of long silence with surgical precision. He refuses to pretend the dynamic is genuine. Continuing to treat someone like they matter more than they treat you is a breach of self-respect. He pulls back quietly until he is gone, refusing to be a consolation prize for anyone. Number 8. Treating forgiveness as permission to push further. Zero tolerance is held for those who see a second chance not as a gift, but as evidence that boundaries are flexible. While others give third and fourth chances hoping for change, the Sigma views a repeated mistake as a permanent pattern with a predictable ending. The hidden dynamic is a power test. The person isn't sorry for the action. They are relieved the consequence was manageable, and they use that relief to recalibrate how much more they can get away with. They see grace as a green light to repeat the offense. A boundary is a structural wall, not a suggestion. If the cycle repeats, the Sigma doesn't offer a third lecture. He simply removes the wall and the house with it. He leaves before the next act begins. Ultimately, this lack of tolerance isn't about bitterness. It is about the preservation of a personal frequency. Most people spend their lives reacting to the games of others, but strength is too deep to be compromised by cheap tactics or emotional shadows. By refusing to participate in these patterns, the expectations of the world are disrupted, and the energy required for the mission is reclaimed. Nothing can ever take that away. When you stop entertaining what is beneath you,